call of duty to do what one knows is right, regardless of, indeed of, in contradiction to what one feels, is a trait required of all men as they fulfill the office of patriarchy. And again, the book is about leading the family and the patriarchal order of the family, which is what God intended. He didn't intend for this co-leadership, husband and wife being two leaders. It's the husband as a leader of the family and the wife as his helpmeet. Very often misunderstood today. Equal dignity, different roles. And the three marks are priest, prophet, and king is what the father is supposed to be in the home. It is self-discipline that empowers a man to heed this call of duty. Self-discipline entails the subjugation of one's own inclinations, desires, and feelings unto one's will. The decision or the will should be to do what we're supposed to do, as he said earlier, instead of what we feel like doing. And I remember one of the motivators talking about that, Mike Littman, he talked about the common thread amongst successful people, and this is in all areas, and he might have been talking about wealth, but it's also with family life and other areas. Successful people do the things that they don't want to do. Okay, so it's instead of what we feel like doing, we do what we're supposed to do the right thing. In general, self-discipline is a more prominent and intense dynamic in manly formation than it is in womanly development. Where a good man may indeed count the cost of his duty and still do it, and because of this, be all the more painfully aware of the price, a woman tends to not count the cost, giving her all in a simpler fiat. That fiat, as we remember our Blessed Mother gave the yes to becoming the Mother of God. Women in general, he's saying here, he's getting into some psychology, tend to do good. They have to practice some self-discipline, but it's more that men have to do it. Therefore, it is unlikely that a young man will be able to depend on a constant and correct heartfelt intuition. He gives us this trait that she has, that women have, as called an intuitive receptivity. That emotional intuition we've noticed. We've talked about that. As such, he often must coerce himself into taking the high road. So a lot of times we have to make the decision instead of doing what we want to do. Watch this. And this explains the complementary nature of the masculine and feminine in marriage. Indeed, it is the man's lot to supply the objective framework which in womanly intuition is allowed to safely blossom. In building this framework and divining the context of truth, a man acts in God's stead. How does Ephesians 5 verse 22 go? Let women be subject to their husbands as to the Lord. We stand in the place of Christ in our homes. I've never seen this explained this way before, but he says, we should be a framework that allows this femininity to blossom. If we've ever seen a woman that's without a man or she has a passive husband, how she can seem to be very out of control. But if we're there with her, you see that complementary nature of the masculine and the feminine. Because often when I explain these things, and maybe I'm not communicating effectively, but I'm told that I'm trying to suppress women, and it's not that at all. It's calling out the femininity so it'll blossom and be a beautiful thing of what the feminine is supposed to be.